And what happened? What they decide? Are they going to do anything?
We demanded answers, and whether it's the Bureau of Reclamation or the State Water Resources Board, we expect to have answers on a number of different things. One of those is, we had the governor's people there. If you don't like our bill, they took an opposition stance on our bill. What do you like in our bill? And so I asked them to go back to the governor, show us what he does like, what bills does he want to see. But just ignoring this whole water crisis is not only irresponsible, it's unconscionable, because we're going to have a challenging economic issue this summer. I think you're going to see high unemployment again. You shut off our water, it's going to affect our ag industry, it's going to affect businesses. It'll affect our entire economy.
So what can we do? I mean, I guess this is one of those eternal arguments, isn't it, between what the state can do, what the federal government can do, who's really responsible for this? And at the end of the day, if Congress passes a bill, does it pass in the Senate? You don't have Feinstein's support. Does the state? I mean, really, what do we do here?
Both. Both the state and the federal government are both responsible for this. I mean, they're allowing regulations that just shut off our water. I mean, there are very simple things that we could do. We just had rain here recently, and an additional 100,000 acre-feet of water went out to the ocean. They could have turned pumps on. It didn't have anything to do with water flows, but we could have moved water around to help out local farmers. We can also get more water storage. I mean, there are simple things that we can do. In the bill that we passed out of the House that's sitting in the Senate right now, I put a number of different amendments in there, language that would create more water storage, authorize more projects, and then even some of our small irrigation districts. New Melones, we have the capacity to store an additional 100,000 acre-feet right now with no cost to the taxpayer. We just have to have not only the will, but the reform to put in place to do it.
How do we get that through a butt-headed Senate at this point? How do you get that through over there?
Well, Dianne Feinstein is the chair of a committee. She continues to say all the right things. She says that she's supportive of new water storage. She certainly talks about wanting to move water throughout the valley. Well, we've shown you what the will of the House is. So it's one thing to have a bill. It's another thing to move it through committee and move it to the House. We need some leadership from our Senate counterparts. We need to actually come together so that we can conference and work on some type of resolution, both short-term regulatory resolution, but then ultimately with this crisis, we need to be looking at a 50-year water project that will bring, for decades to come, will bring water. We need about 10 million new acre-feet.
I completely agree. Long-term, we're going to have to solve this long-term. We're going to have a crisis this year. What's the House prepared to do for California this year to help us get through this?
Well, I think that we've waited so long, it's going to be difficult no matter what we do. We just don't have enough water this year. I think that we do have water that can be managed better, that we can transfer so that we can save as much ground as possible. But we're in a situation right now where our reservoirs are so low that it is going to be difficult, as well as a challenge even on the power side of things with our irrigation districts. It's going to create a void in power this summer that I think will affect rolling blackouts or brownouts in different parts of the state. So I think we've got some challenges ahead of us, but with that being said, we just need to do things smarter. When we get another rain, we need to transfer that water. We need to store as much as we can, and we need to be able to convey as much as we can to transfer water from throughout the district. Our bill that came out of the House does a lot of that, but some of it is going to have to be changes with the governor, as well as looking at this crisis is so bad. We can't afford to have this certainty year in and year out. It's got to stop, and it's got to end now. We need to be forcing a vote on new water storage and really add pressure to the governor. I mean, the governor continues to talk about these tunnels that he wants. You want tunnels? We're not going to have them unless we have more water storage.
Congressman Jeff Denham is here, 565-DAVE, 565-3283, telephone and text. So you spent a day or so listening to farmers down there. I would imagine the frustration level for them is very high.
It goes beyond frustration. It's anger. A lot of employers, a lot of farmers are not only frustrated, they can lose, thousands of acres. They could lose their livelihood, but they also get frustrated about what it means to their employees that will have to be laid off, those that they won't be able to hire this year. It affected, the lives of families that for generations have worked for them. It is. you have a lot of it goes beyond just being concerned. It's anger that it's going to affect our entire community.
All right. Well, let's shift gears up a little bit here. It's election year, as everybody knows. The big issue down in Florida, they're saying it was the big issue in the special election, Obamacare. What's the House planning to do? I mean, you've passed 40, 50, I don't know how many times. Everybody lost track now of how many times it's been repealed. Does the House plan to keep on doing that? Is there another move to do that again before the primaries? What's the plan with Obamacare?
Look, we take a lot of criticism for the amount of times that we have tried to repeal or replace Obamacare. But what doesn't get talked about a lot is the number of changes that the president has made to his own law and done it around Congress. 34 times he's made changes to this law. I think that, first of all, Americans have the right to know exactly what the changes are and how it's going to affect their daily lives. And then I believe that we also have to have a plan to show people what our plan is and what changes we'd like to make. And I think we've got to be very clear to the public. Well, one bill I just introduced was the Seniors' Right to Know Act. It is a big challenge in our community, but it's also a big challenge across the nation. Medicare Advantage is something that seniors like, and it's going up in a big way. In my community, it's going to cost our seniors about $1,000, $1,080 more per year. It's coming. The president has not made any changes to allow people to know or plan what this new cost is going to be. So I've just passed a very simple bill that is the Seniors' Right to Know Act that will allow them to know and plan for this new cost shift of Medicare. It's a big cut to Medicare, and it certainly deals with Medicare Advantage. We have 33,000 seniors in Stanislaus County alone that are going to be affected by this.
I guess this is more of a philosophical question than a political question, but why does Congress allow, and I realize you're one guy out of 535, but why does Congress allow a president to make changes to a bill that you guys have passed? Why isn't there more anger about this on the Hill? Why isn't there more flag screaming, yelling, screaming, calling talk shows and saying, why aren't you supporting me and stopping this guy doing this?
It happens every day. Every day, a large number of members go down to the floor. We talk about it. I think it just sometimes becomes old news to the media that here we are trying to repeal it one more time. Look, we don't like the Affordable Care Act. We don't think it works. Certainly we don't believe that government should be forcing the American public to buy any type of new product. But for me, it goes much deeper. In our community here locally, it is a big issue with access. If you're just going to transfer in our community tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people onto Medicare when we already have a shortage of doctors, the doctors that we do have, fewer and fewer taking Medicare patients, and now you're going to throw people onto the whole Medicare system. It doesn't add up, and it's going to you can give somebody something for free, but at the end of the day, if there's nothing there to give, I think it's going to leave people in a greater lack of access than what we have today.
Congressman Jeff Denham is here.